Welcome to the Greening of North American Cemeteries with Idaho Cemetery and the Green Burial Council. Lawn cemeteries are really a recent invention, stemming out of the Victorian era family plot cemeteries that were hives of activity for the living, with regular picnic lunches after church on Sundays laid out on the graves of the ancestors. Over time, they have become well manicured, weed free, bug free, concrete filled warehouses for the dead with no other purpose, and they are filling up. There are many ways to describe green burial, but the most revealing is the one used exclusively prior to the adoption of vaults, just plain burial. Prior to the Civil War, embalming was not practiced as a matter of course, and vaults were not promoted on the false premise of protecting the body forever or to protect the living, both of which were and are erroneous claims. Green or natural burial in its purest form does the following: protects worker safety, conserves valuable natural resources, reduces carbon emissions, and contributes to preservation and hopefully restoration of habitat. By eliminating the use of toxic chemical embalming, metal and exotic wood caskets, and concrete or other vaults, we can go to the grave without contributing to non-renewable energy expenditures. We can instead procure caskets and shrouds locally, supporting our local economy, participate as much as we are willing or able in the after-death care to disposition process, and know that we have done so in authentic, environmentally sound manner. The first goal of green burial is to allow natural decomposition, gifting the body to the earth organically, rather than trying to impede it with chemicals or anaerobic conditions caused by encapsulating in containers or vaults. The second goal is to run the cemetery in environmentally responsible and sensitive ways, treating it as a place where life goes on rather as a warehouse for the dead and the non-biodegradable artifacts left behind. By offering community supporting activities above ground, such as recreational, educational, agricultural, or community centered events, green cemeteries become places to honor the dead while celebrating the living and contributing to an ethic of stewardship. Some green cemeteries are affiliated with land trusts or other entities that provide governance and financial support, while burials creating a revenue stream to support above ground activities. Those involved in the green burial movement strive to make green burial open to all, regardless of cultural boundaries. Two groups, baby boomers and spiritual communities, are leading the way in demanding a return to environmentally conscious after death practices. Burial, with its attending rituals, and green burial in particular, appeals to people as a responsible means of acknowledging the loss to the family and to the community. By and large, people are looking for sense of place, of being able to think of their loved ones in a familiar setting, one of peace and comfort. Burial is also in accord with certain religious doctrine, particularly that of resurrection, where full body is necessary. More people are considering the environmental impact as part of their exit plan, which they want above all to be in alignment with their core values in life. Cost may play a small or a large part in their decision as well. Green Burial offers all of these, plus the invitation to participate as much as desired during the process, from after death care to shoveling in the dirt at burial. The Green Burial Council certifies green cemeteries at three levels. 1. Hybrid burial grounds. These are in conventional cemeteries, but have no vaults and are within biodegradable containers. The second level, natural burial grounds. These are in specific green cemeteries. They prohibit toxic chemicals, non-organic caskets, vaults, and non-native markers. The third level is conservation burial grounds. These are on easements or land trusts, and they provide land preservation with burial fees, creating revenue streams to further conservation, restoration, and recreation paths. In this infographic, The Anatomy of a Green Burial Grave, you can see the optimum burial depth in contrast to the current practice. This allows for rapid decomposition. It also allows the body's nutrients to provide benefit to the vegetation above the surface of the earth. Please take a few moments to look at this infographic. Thank you. As we continue, it's one thing to stop contributing to the pollution cycle through vault burial and cremation. But how might we begin to look at what we contribute to the planet through natural burial? Each year, beneficial nutrients are prevented from being sequestered due to the vault burial and cremation. Natural burial allows nutrients from our bodies to be released and absorbed by soil, contributing positively to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and building climate resiliency. Ritual is indeed central to the human spirit. It is woven into the fabrics of our daily lives. We have rituals or ceremonies when babies are born, when we have graduations, at our birthdays, and even in our religious experience. End of life ritual is no different. Every culture has a form of ritual to mark the end of life. Stop for a minute and consider that most of our clients, by nature, are older. These are the folks, for the most part, that were raised in a faith-based society. Even if they are not currently church-oriented, at a time of crisis, one tends to return to the familiar and comfortable. The baby boomers and younger are not as faith-based, and many times are more apt to look for personalization or experience. This is where we are today, the familiar and comfortable giving way to new forms of experience-based ritual. While direct cremation rates rise, ritual observation decreases. The result we are hearing is that people are experiencing PTSD-like symptoms from not having had a funeral. Green burial is helping bring people back to finding ways of making meaning around death. For many families, shrouding and casketing has ritual significance. Invite them into the process. Ritual shroud wrapping was once an essential part of the funeral process with meaning in every step, and it is on the rise again. And most importantly, in-house funeral observances and graveside services help funeral providers recoup income that previously may have been lost to cremation. Since 1998, more than 350 cemeteries at all levels have been developed in the United States and Canada. This growth, particularly in established conventional cemeteries, represents a radical shift in thinking about how we manage not only our death, but land and resources. It also speaks to the desire to have green burial space in locations where everyone can call up that sense of place we described earlier. Before we can address the positive benefits of green or natural burial, we need to lay to rest some prevailing notions about the way we do death in America. Don't be embarrassed if you are among the majority of people who have long believed either of these myths. Listen up and the truth shall set you free. Embalming, not legally required. It's policy for funeral home viewing. Preserves the body for up to 2 weeks. Has no protective properties. And the body fluids are disposed in septic systems and wastewater treatment plants. Vaults, they're not legally required by any state. Actually, they are by city or county code, and you have to know for each zone. Policy of lawn cemeteries for maintenance reasons, and they have no protective properties. So those are some of the myths that we have to look at as we continue. In fact, how we think about public health and safety around burial matters. And research over the past decade has helped us understand that not only are dead bodies not automatically dangerous, we are beginning to identify what is. For example, microorganisms involved in the decay process are not pathogenic. The WHO, CDC, and CID agree bodies without pathogenic conditions are not dangerous to the public. Also, scientific research actually shows that what is buried with the body is what pollutes, not actually the bodies themselves. So now let's look at some of the lawn cemetery health risks to the environment. We have nitrates, potassium, phosphates, decreasing dissolved oxygen, killing aquatic food sources, increasing ammonia. Things we need to worry about that affect our food crops, apiaries, even wine vines, things to that area. The fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides that we use in lawn care for cemeteries often affect the environment around them. In addition, let's zero in on one of the most important issues for you, health and worker safety. As you no doubt know, formaldehyde-based embalming fluid also has traces of benzene, sulfur dioxide, which is a respiratory irritant, and hydrochloric acid, which produces acid rain. This results in a cumulative 13% higher risk of contracting terminal diseases than the general population. Specifically, there is an 8 times higher risk of leukemia, a 3 times higher risk of ALS, and a general pool of neurological disturbances. We are hearing that more and more embalmers are choosing to use non-formaldehyde-based fluids for their own safety, not because of customer demand. In fact, we haven't heard yet from a funeral director who has prepped a body for green burial whose family has actually asked for it. Actual figures supporting the claim that maintenance workers in conventional cemeteries have increased risk of COPD and other respiratory diseases, an increased risk of neurological diseases, and cancer are hard to find, but they are accepted as truth within the medical community. Let's face it, more research will be done on you than on the guy who runs the lawnmower. Same thing for factory workers. Though OSHA and the federal government have scads of health information about them, we have yet to find it broken down by distinct product manufacturing. We were trying to learn more about what chemical exposure and other health risks are present for factory workers making funeral goods exclusively. In any case, worker safety is a major concern. Furthermore, the scientific community supports green burial with these observations. Shallower burial depth, 3 to 4 feet, provides the optimum temperature and access for natural agents, beetles and other microbes, for rapid aerobic decomposition. It also means that we can use land for burial that would otherwise be unusable. Soil is the greatest filter known. Optimum soil conditions create an environment that binds heavy metals and other toxins that bodies accumulate over the course of our lives. This does not happen in the anaerobic conditions created by closed burial. The few studies available that seek to measure soil and water contamination in or near cemeteries have focused on disaster sites, not active cemeteries. The general conclusion is that the known polluting agents can be attributed to casket and vault leachate, not bodies. Further testing in actual green burial cemeteries is being developed. No animal disturbances have actually been reported. Unfortunately, we are just not that delicious. The statistics speak for themselves. The mercury comes from our teeth fillings and other heavy metals we accumulate over a lifetime. Radiopharmaceuticals refers to activated radiation from recent treatments for breast cancer or prostate cancer seeds that are available during cremation, showing a slight rise in danger for crematory operators. Cremated remains are not nutrient rich in ways that are available for healthy plant life. The final product, calcium phosphate and sodium, is so sweet in pH it is detrimental to fragile flora. And cremated remains are dense, made of pulverized bone, and can crush or smother whatever they land on with enough mass. The sodium also prevents plants from flourishing. Roots will find a way to grow away from salt every time. Another advantage of green burials is the ability to use different type of containers or shrouds. These can be obtained locally by people, whether it's in an artistic sense or through wood caskets or even linen shrouds. Though I do not have any current locations for that because Idaho does not have any green burial cemeteries. The closest one, I believe, is in Billings, Montana. This still gives us an opportunity to look for options that we can do in a local setting. So as I get close to the end of the presentation, we have a choice. Regular cemeteries are set so it's very hard to encourage picnics or events that you can have to encourage a family reunion or otherwise. They are very short in their duration of visits. Although locally we have turned the Mountain View Cemetery into a great place for walking and with paths, it still does not encourage family reunions and settings. Whereas in a green burial location, this is where life goes on. We preserve natural ecosystems while supporting recreation, research, education, agriculture, forestry. Our ancestors, we celebrate their lives, and we are encouraged to continue to preserve them and help those areas in a conservation effort. So how can you help? Here are some ideas. How about becoming a friend of the Green Burial Council? They tap into the base of fellow green burial advocates so that you can access and share tools to help in your work educating others. Just becoming a friend is a way to support the work of the Green Burial Council in its own advocacy work. Becoming an advocate means opening up communication so that your message can be heard by those who are in a position to create change, such as cemeterians, town officials, funeral directors, policymakers, and many others. Here are some articles to read that will help you prepare to become a green burial advocate. Also consider becoming a friend to Idahocemetery. They are local, working with the local cemeteries to find ways to make them more family oriented, to get their records and maps available to all. Once you have all the facts, begin creating a coalition of interested stakeholders in your community. Don't be afraid to talk about it. More people are interested than you know. After all, we all have skin in this game. What thoughts and ideas do you have? Well, why don't you get a hold of us and let us know? We'll have that information here on the last page. Thank you. Also, where can I find more information? Following are a few sources that you may look to get more information about green burials. So as I end the presentation, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me, Michael, at Idaho Cemetery Inc., at idahocemetery.net, or even Idaho Cemetery on Facebook. You can also access the Green Burial Council at www.greenburialcouncil.org. If you have any questions, please feel free to stick around and let me know, and we'll see how we can help you out. Thank you very much.